My boyfriend's friend ruined my designer purse as a prank and told me he's not paying me back because it's my fault for bringing something that expensive. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I recently bought an authentic designer purse. I realize the privilege I have to do so, but I work an extremely demanding job that requires me to work very long hours and get compensated well to do so. It's something I've wanted my entire life, and I've finally reached a point where I can afford to do it. Not super relevant, but I grew up poor. So in a way, it was cathartic for me to buy something frivolous that I really wanted, which is partially why it means so much to me. I've had this purse for less than a month and have only worn it out twice, once to a work event and once to a nice dinner we went to with my boyfriend and his friends this past weekend. We were hanging out at my boyfriend's friend's house after the dinner, and I hung my purse on the chair behind me. At this point, I trusted everyone in the house and wasn't really concerned about it. We've all been hanging out for years now. We moved to another room right next to the one we were in to play a game. When I came back, my purse was right where I left it. When we left for the night, I grabbed it and thought it felt heavier but didn't look inside until I went to unload it when we got home. For some reason, someone thought it would be funny to put uncovered red Jell-O shots into my purse with a white interior, where they proceeded to leak. The entire inside was stained a splotchy pink shade, and to say I was livid is an understatement. We're all between 30 to 60, we have some older folks who are family friends of people in the group who hang out with us sometimes, so everyone is old enough to not do something so stupid. I attempted to clean it to no avail. My boyfriend reached out to the group chat that has about half of his friends in it and asked if anyone knew who had done it. One person admitted they saw someone do it and told us who. It was one of the older members of the group who was known for messing with people's belongings, but never to this degree. For example, when we went swimming last summer, he filled the pockets of my shorts with Chex Mix. It was annoying but didn't really damage anything. Also, no one really finds his antics funny. In my opinion, it's common sense to refrain from putting red goo, that turns liquidy when warm, into a white bag, but he claims he was just being funny and didn't think they would leak. I asked him for money to either repair the bag or replace it, and he claims he does not have that much money. He says the bag looked cheap, so he didn't think it would be a big deal even if the shots had leaked. I know that he has ample assets, multiple sports cars, $1 million home, etc., and can find a way to compensate me for what he damaged. When I pointed this out, he told me that it was my fault for bringing around an expensive bag and that something could have easily been spilled on it instead. While I would have been upset if that had been the case, obviously, I wouldn't have been anywhere near as upset because this had been done intentionally and is now being blamed on me. I can take responsibility and say I shouldn't have left it out of my sight, but I knew no one in the house would steal it or its contents, and I never would have thought someone would fill it with sticky red goo, regardless of how expensive or cheap it was. I told him that he needed to find the money or I would be suing him for the damages, and a couple of people in the group think I'm going too far. My boyfriend is thankfully as angry as I am, and I don't want this situation to come at the cost of any of his friendships, but I also want to be compensated for my property that I worked my tail off for. Would I be the jerk if I take legal action, or should I try some other method to recoup my losses? I personally don't think so, because this wasn't an accident, but some people seem to think I'm going too nuclear. /relevant comments. Commenter. I would likely go to small claims over this since he obviously can pay. He's a damn adult, responsible for his actions. I think it's relevant to know the amount you're talking about. Designer could be $300 or $3,000, or much more. Ops response. It was $2,800? My understanding is that if it can be cleaned, costs would be around $400. If it cannot, repairs could be anywhere from $700 to it just needing to be replaced. I'm taking it in to be looked at tonight, and I'll have a more solid answer. Op on if the guy is single and only playing pranks on women. He's married, though I've never met his wife, so she could be made up, but I doubt it. I can only assume she enjoys the money he brings in and ignores the fact that he's a prick. Or maybe she's the same way, who knows? Op adds an edit to their post. I had my appointment to have the bag looked at. They would be able to mostly repair it, however, it's likely that the liquid seeped through the lining and may have damaged the bag beyond repair. They wouldn't know until they really got into it. Even so, the smell of crusty old Jell-O and liquor would likely linger and deteriorate any resale value the purse may have in the future. For these reasons, I will be going after him for the entire value of the purse. Thank you to the person who mentioned that this could hurt the resale value in the future. I didn't even think of this. I asked the person who looked at it, and she told me the severity of the staining and odor definitely would. Thankfully, it is not a limited edition bag, and I can currently buy a new one. I'm hopeful that this doesn't change anytime soon, as I really love my bag. I'm going to reach out to my attorney in the morning to see if he can help me or refer me to someone who can. I can update again with what they say, but I am pretty sure I have a strong leg to stand on. To answer some common questions. Why don't I kick this guy from the friend group? The easiest answer here is that it isn't my friend group. This man is a family friend of one of my boyfriend's friends. He truthfully isn't around much, but it seems like whenever he is, he causes problems, so I'm not sure why he is still invited, even occasionally. My boyfriend and I made it clear we would never be in the same place as him ever again, which kind of puts the ball in everyone else's court. Does he not like you, or does he torment everyone? He has a weird fixation with me mostly, but he does also torment most of the women in the group. I mentioned this in the comments, but it may have gotten buried. During my first interaction with him, I had left my phone out while I quickly went to the bathroom. At some point, he snatched my phone up, went somewhere else in the house, took a picture of his bumhole, and replaced my phone in the same spot. I found the picture a few hours later when I opened my camera roll to show someone my dog, and my boyfriend asked me, horrified, why I had a hairy bumhole in my phone. I was mortified and had no explanation, and it wasn't until this man was hammered that he admitted he did it. We were all disgusted, and he stopped being invited for a while because my boyfriend refused to be around him. Last year, he started being invited again and immediately started pranking me in harmless ways. He especially liked to do this with new girlfriends, I noticed, and I am one of the newest in the friend group, even though it's been a few years now. One of my boyfriend's friends started dating a new girl, and she got similar treatment, but nothing is severe. He really likes to tamper with our clothes mostly. I don't know what the motive is, but he doesn't usually mess with the guys, just the women. Did he steal anything? No, as I had mentioned, he's wealthy, and I don't think he'd really do anything like that. He doesn't seem like the type to get a thrill from theft, rather, he wants to annoy women. I only kept my credit card, a small amount of cash, car keys, and a sentimental keychain in the bag. Everything was sticky and coated in goo, but everything was also there. Additional info from Op regarding her boyfriend. Okay, a lot of crazy accusations have been made about my boyfriend here, but this is the craziest. My boyfriend does not have any close relationship with this guy, let alone some secret rendezvous. I'm also very confident that my partner isn't gay, but even on the off chance that I somehow entirely misjudged his sexuality in the several years we've been together, I wouldn't imagine he would be having a sexual relationship with an overweight, immature, stinky 50-year-old man. For this theory to shake out, he must also be sleeping with another man in the friend group, as he has bullied another girlfriend in a similar manner. He had taken and hidden her phone and made her think she lost it. Once she panicked for a while searching, he gave it back. Other things may have happened too because we aren't usually around when he is, but that's one story I heard from others. This situation is obviously more extreme, but I don't think that it was really intended to be as malicious as it was. Maybe I'm being naive, but knowing this guy, I think he genuinely thought in his simple, drunken mind that they wouldn't leak and it would be funny when I got home and found a bunch of crap in my purse, and it blew up well beyond what he thought it would, and now he has to part with his money to make it right. But overall, my boyfriend has done all I'd ever expect him to. He's freaked out on the guy whenever something happens. He set the firm boundary that we won't be around if he is ever again unless it's in court, regardless of circumstance, and anyone who's pushed back on me taking him to court has been told it isn't their business. At this point, everyone has respectfully stepped away and left us to deal directly with him. Whether or not my boyfriend will ever forgive the people who pushed back is up to him, but relationships are strained from all of this, and my relationship with my partner isn't one of them. And I'm very confident he isn't gay lol. Update 1 week later. I got a quote for the repair, but it was likely futile, as the smell of cheap liquor would probably remain, even if only faintly. Additionally, as a kind commenter pointed out, doing so drastically affects resale value should I ever choose to sell it. For these reasons, I was pursuing him for a replacement purse. I laid all the information out in writing and had my boyfriend hand deliver it to him. To summarize, I broke down the cost of the replacement to the penny and threatened legal action should he not replace what he damaged. The next day, one of my boyfriend's other friends showed up with a check made payable to me for the entire amount. I'm sure you all wish it were more exciting than that, but I, for one, am just glad it's over. The only thing that could be seen as funny is the memo line on the check, which was "See you next Tuesday." I deposited the check and it cleared, so thankfully he didn't try to play any additional games by having it bounce. I think he knew I was serious and didn't want any more costs adding up should I take him to court. So yeah, that's it. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. In my experience, every group of guy friends has that one member whom everyone else in the group ends up having to apologize for. I hope this was the expensive lesson this group needed to learn, that not all friendships are meant to last forever. Ops response: this guy is no longer invited to group gatherings. A few may hang out with him one-on-one, but the majority of people are outraged by his behavior. Commenter 2: good, I wonder if that took way longer than it should have, though. Ops response: it really did. I talked to another girl in the group, the other newest girlfriend that I mentioned in the original post, and she said that he has been kind of creepy towards her. Overall, the women in the group are happy. One of the guys is bummed out that he can't come around anymore, but they can hang out with him one-on-one if they care that much. Commenter 3: any of the men who are sad about that guy's absence are a huge red flag. I'd refuse to hang out with them as well.